Hello, this is Rachel from the Shades of Orange. Today I want to review Places in the Darkness by Brookmyre. And now this I've requested from Orbit Books. This is a piece of science fiction that is set in our future when humanity has built a giant space station in order to conduct research and prepare to build a generational ship that will take humanity to other habitable planets. This particular story follows a murder investigation when a person is found brutally murdered in one of the research labs. The story follows two main female characters that are set to investigate what happened to this person and hopefully track down their killer. So if the name Brookmyre rings a bell, that is because he is a well-known and prolific crime fiction writer, and I have not read any of his other books, but I definitely plan to after this. This is his first venture into writing science fiction, and he certainly did not feel like a debut author. Instead, his writing was incredibly strong, and he really has good confidence on the page. He has a fantastic vocabulary. And what probably surprised me most is that coming from someone who writes crime fiction, I didn't expect this book to be so technical, but I would actually describe this as a piece of hard science fiction because he really took the time to delve into the world building, understanding how this space station would work, as well as the technology of the future. At times you could almost consider the writing to be quite dense, but I really enjoyed those aspects. I thought it was fascinating to learn so much about the technology, and it just felt very well researched, but at the same time still accessible to people like myself who don't have a background in science. It was easily one of my favorite aspects of the book. Now, to talk characters, I did mention that it's told from two perspectives, both of them being female, which was a really fantastic choice. But they are considered to be unlikable characters. This is clearly an intentional choice by the author because even one of the characters herself admits that she does not like herself. So it is not expected for the readers to like her either. So you do need to be okay reading unlikable characters. For me, I always enjoy them and that's never an issue. But I do need to find the characters interesting and well developed or fleshed out. And I do wish there had been a little more character development in this book. It felt a little bit surface level, and honestly, I never fully connected with either of these two female leads. Now, in terms of categorizing this book, I would consider it to be a science fiction thriller. However, it did take a while for the thriller aspects to get going. The first 25% of the book really felt like a traditional science fiction story, very much focused on the hard science, the technology, etc. Around the 25% mark, that is when the mystery investigation started, and at first it read more like a police procedural. I was actually going to describe this book at first as a slow burn because those first chapters were a lot slower paced. However, there are some events that transpire, and at that point I would definitely consider this book to be a thriller, meaning that there is a lot of danger, it is action-packed, and there's some crazy twists and turns, and it became very fast-paced. I flew through the rest of this book, and I think a lot of people will as well. It dealt with a lot of really interesting themes of consciousness and memory. When it comes to thrillers, often they can be very larger than life, and I personally ran into some issues where the situations that arose were a little bit unbelievable and did break my suspension of disbelief. It really just depends if you as a reader buy into the ideas, but overall, it was still a lot of fun, very fast-paced, and I really did enjoy the world building, the technology, the science around this. It was just a really interesting read, and I'm very glad that I read it. I do think this will appeal to people who enjoy things like Six Wakes by Mur Lafferty, as well as Artemis by Andy Weir. So if you are a fan of those crossover science fiction, crime fiction books, this is one you may want to consider picking up. I should mention that it is quite gritty and vulgar at times. It's very much an adult science fiction novel, which you know I appreciate. So this may not be for very sensitive readers, but if you come from a background of reading crime fiction like myself, it won't be too hard to handle. So those are my thoughts on Places in the Darkness by Brookmyre. I'd love to know if you're thinking about picking it up. If you have any questions or have already read it, feel free to leave those as well, as long as you keep it spoiler free. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this, and I will talk to you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.